Matthew Lange is a pioneer, shaping a new scientific discipline known as Food Informatics, while simultaneously enabling the engineering of a computable infrastructure for the burgeoning Internet of Food. Part Semantic Web, part Internet of Things, the IOF is the global evolving knowledge base of food that exists as ontologies and linked object data stores. These IOF infrastructure components allow anyone on the internet to contribute what they know about food and also find answers to their questions. As the IOF matures, terminologies used to store information in and query from these repositories must be harmonized using standardized, structured vocabularies. These terminologies, known as ontologies, enable interoperability between internet devices, as well as query by people via natural language text. This also facilitates artificial intelligence via reasoning and deep learning. In connection with engineering infrastructure for the Internet of Food, Dr. Lange's research is highly published in academia. Please welcome to Chain Exchange, Dr. Matthew Lange.
Right, wow. This is super exciting to be here. I'm so grateful to be on this stage right now. You just never know what's going to happen in your life when you start pursuing your dreams, and this is certainly a great stop along the way. Al, I just want to give you a shout out and say thank you so much for this opportunity. And you've put together an amazing experience here. Just a quick note, every single person that I've talked to as I've walked around the floor, I've been here since the beginning, has been really smart. And you've done a great job in filtering out the riffraff and facilitating quality interactions. So thanks, Al and crew. I really appreciate that. What I want to talk to you guys about today, this whole thing is about power games and this fourth revolution, this fourth industrial revolution that we're at here. This fusion of technologies, of the physical, the digital, and the biological spheres. And I'm going to make essentially a bold prediction that all of this is going to happen through food. And it's going to happen because we've got sensors and robotics, we've got cloud storage and aggregation, distributed ledgers, aka blockchain. We can have a little debate about that. I have a feeling people I was talking to backstage, we're going to have a little bit of a discussion about whether distributed ledger and blockchain are the same thing. And then this artificial intelligence. And it's all enabled essentially by sensors. This idea that we have sensors that we can put everywhere now. Everybody knows about, I think probably everybody in this room knows about Moore's Law, this idea that, we can increase the speed of processors by 50% every 18 months. These sensors shrink down, and we can sense everything in the world now. We can sense everything on land and water and buildings, on the farm. In fact, the farm and agriculture is the single largest market for IoT. When we consider food processing and everything, it's a massive market. And I have friends who are in the digital kitchen space, want to help you be successful in the kitchen. And of course, we've got sensors all over our body, all over the world, tracking us in our phones. What we do, how do we want to be? So, I think that there's three real value propositions for these new power players here. This proposition of improving the planet, the idea that we can improve people, make you healthier. Let's not wait for you to get sick. Let's not wait like we do with the medical system that we call our healthcare system, which I don't think is health at all. It's actually a disease intervention system. So let's make healthy people healthier before you get sick. And let's talk about delight. How do we enjoy life, right? We've digitized light and sound in the form of movies, in the form of all these amazing things that you see on stage, in between speakers. We can do all of that. But I think that there's another way that we can digitize our world that's coming. And it's coming fast, and it's amazing. And it's the digitization of food and aroma. It's because of these things that I think that this idea of a technological singularity, right, where we have this superpower connection, where we're connected with computers, it's going to happen through food. At the very least, it's not going to happen without food. We are not going to reach the singularity if we don't talk about food, because we all eat every day. You need to eat. You don't have to watch Netflix. You don't have to buy a bunch of crap off of Amazon, but you got to eat. You got to eat. And the fact is that food touches all aspects of our lives. Just about every important conversation you have happens either over a meal or over drinks. And as far as I'm concerned, drinks are food. They're just liquid food, right? Some people smoke food. So we have these amazing experiences with each other, whether they're religious experiences or whether we're breaking bread with people that maybe we just met, right? We do all our most important things over food. And this idea that sometimes you just eat something or smell something, that's amazing. How are we going to digitize that? How can we help bring that experience to people? I think these are the real value propositions for this fourth industrial revolution, right? We've got mostly the basics covered, at least in the first world, right? But it's not just about first world problems. It's about third world problems too. We need to improve the planet for everybody. And it has to do with food. It has to do with food because half of all the greenhouse gases are related to food. Now, that's not just the cows farting a bunch. It's also the transportation of food. It's also the processing. It's also the petrochemicals we put on as fertilizers and as insecticides, right? We've got a lot to deal with here if we actually want to improve our planet. We need to do it through food. And it's not just, some kind of Chinese conspiracy where, we think that the far left is colluding with China to come up with this idea of global warming so that we'll put the petrochemical industry out of business. The fact is that the climate is changing. Swiss Re, the largest reinsurance company in the world, right? Power move right here. Largest insurance company in the world says your insurance is going to cost you more if you don't have a climate mitigation strategy in your supply chain, not just for your company, in your supply chain. Your insurance is going to cost you more. Why? Because they're dealing with climate mitigation disasters. They have to pay out to the insurance companies who insured your house or your business, and they're going broke. So they have insurance through reinsurance. Moodys has already come out and said that your credit rating is going to suffer if you don't have climate mitigation strategy. It's a real thing, guys. It's real. We can't deny it anymore. And it's not just this left-wing thing. It's business. The cost of money and doing business depends on climate mitigation strategies and making the world a better place, as it should. Right? We need to make the world a better place. We're all here together. Rabobank is doing some heavy investing in it, and CalPERS, the largest pension fund in the world, is also investing specifically in sustainability. So what does it look like? The power players in the food space in this fourth industrial revolution. We haven't disrupted food yet. We've disrupted transportation. We saw Uber and Lyft do this in the sharing economy. We've disrupted accommodation. We've seen Airbnb do this, right? We've disrupted the marketplace for goods, right? Amazon and Alibaba, right? And none of them, well, Amazon a little bit, but Airbnb, Uber, Lyft, they don't own any of the assets. They own the platform technologies, right? They have no risk in the capital in the same way. But we haven't done this for food. And yet we all eat every day. What is the opportunity here? We all eat every day. We have to eat. So these are the 10 companies that control everything you eat, pretty much. I'm gonna guess for most of the people in this room, it's gonna be about 95 to 99% of your diet, unless you happen to hit farmers markets on the weekends or something. Turns out 4 of them have decided to leave the Grocery Manufacturers Association, which is the lobbying arm for food companies, and they've started their own. The largest 4, Danone, Mars, Nestle, and Unilever. They're moving. They see this coming. They want to be better companies, or that's what they're claiming. The Sustainable Food Policy Alliance. But look at that bottom line right there. We want to affect policies that shape what people eat. These guys, and if you know anything about the way the law is written, these guys are the ones writing the policies that are going to shape what you eat. So what's the power play here? I'm grateful that they left the GMA and they recognize that they want to make a more sustainable world. In fact, Nestle just sold off its entire North American candy business because they are looking at becoming essentially a health company, a food and health company. I think that's a positive thing. It's a step in the right direction. It has to be, because we can't count on our physicians to actually know anything about nutrition. Your average physician has less than 0.2 units worth of nutrition training from the beginning of their undergraduate degree to the end of their residency. 0.2 units. They don't even take a single class. And yet, over half of the top 10 killers, both in the US and worldwide, are related to food. So what they're saying is that they're fine to remain ignorant, because if they don't know, they're not doing any harm, right? That Hippocratic oath. If they don't know, they're not doing any harm, and they're happy to drug, cut, and irradiate the hell out of you after 30 years of food consumption that may not be the best thing. So I see it kind of like a poker game. Here we are in Las Vegas. And that poker game is really about your environments and your genetics, right? You can't really control either one. You're born into an environment, and you're born with your genetics. You can't control either one. But the way you play the game is not with the cards you're dealt, it's how you bet your chips. How are you going to alter your diet? How are you going to change your physical activity? What do you expose yourself to? Radiation? Solar radiation? Just get in the sun? Are you going to lay out in the sun and get a tan and get skin cancer later on in life? What are you going to do? We need knowledge systems capable of guiding us, putting the guardrails on there. I need guardrails. Turns out I had my genes done, I had them scanned, and I put them in a little knowledge base, and this popped up. I got this polymorphism in this gene called oxytocin. Oxytocin is that chemical that gets expressed when you're like petting your dog, or you're like having dinner with your sweetie pie, or when you orgasm. Get a lot of it when you orgasm. Turns out that mine binds and then it lets go right away. So I have difficulty recognizing the emotional state of others when I'm stressed out. My wife looked at this and she said, "Oh, you have the asshole gene." I'm like, "Oh, that's great, thanks. Well, at least we know why." So I got guardrails now. Now I got to try to fix this. There's another aspect that we need to personalize. We need to personalize health. We need to make better recommendations. This is my friend Ahmed. He's a professor at the University of Toronto, and he's also got this company called Nutrigenomics. And I could go through all these genes, but I'm just going to focus on this one right here. It's about folate. Folate's a micronutrient that you need. And this gene, this is my favorite gene right here, MTHFR. Stands for methylene tetrahydrofolate reductase, but you don't have to remember that. Just call it mother fur. So this mother fur gene is a problem for like 50% of Italian women. They have this polymorphism, this susceptibility. Like if you have the gene coded in this way, then you have trouble converting. So I know I'm like professor guy, right? And like, oh my God, biochemistry, but make it simple. It's a little bit like American politics. We want to go from red to blue. Blue is good, red is bad. And if you have this polymorphism, okay, I'm wrapping it up. Okay, if you have this polymorphism and you want to exercise and you want to eat lean meat and you want to do all the things that you're supposed to do, well, you better take more B12 and you better take more riboflavin and you better take more folate. Otherwise, you're going to walk around hypohomocysteinemic and you're going to end up with cardiovascular disease later in life. So we got to ask people, what do you want to do? What do you want to be? Personalized health goals. All these people, all of them are Olympians. Let's help them get there. How are we going to personalize flavor? How are we going to make it better? This is a PhD student of mine named Tarini Naravani. She's a brilliant computer scientist. She's working on how do we compute about flavor. It's a wicked problem. I wish I could tell you more, but I've just got the wrap-up symbol. But stay tuned if you're interested. And now, look, the weed people actually got some insights here, right? If you want to be a certified Budtender, that's what they call them now, a Budtender, you have to be able to tell somebody, hey, careful, you're going to be stuck on the couch for a long time if you take that. Right? We need to know how that food is going to affect us. They're way out in front talking about how is this food going to affect you. Right? So we've got this personalization thing. Right. So to wrap it up really quick, we've got these data sets we're building at UC Davis, at IC Foods. We're building these semantic web, these vocabularies that we can use to annotate data, and then we want to lay that down in blockchain, in distributed ledgers, immutable records, so that we have a record of where your food went, a hyperfood markup language, not just about tomatoes, about that tomato right there. How ripe is it? How sweet is it? What are the nutrients? Right? And we're building vocabularies across governments with the European Food Safety Authority, the UNFAO, the USDA, the FDA. Let's bring it together and make an international language that we can use to talk about food. We can trace it all the way from the field all the way to that croissant, which I love. So, do I have time for this? Let's try it. So this is, okay, collaboration. We need to collaborate, right? I'm thinking we need to collaborate, not just compete. This is the future. The future is about collaboration. So what you're going to witness here, is how humanity has collaborated around the Human Genome Project. This is, now, when you are a scientist and you're like, oh, I think I discovered a gene and I was doing this experiment and it was all about like vision and it was about, but I was doing it in the back of the eye, or it was about the immune system or whatever. I can annotate that sequence of genes and I shoot it up to the National Center for Bioinformatics, that sequence, and I say, here's these words from this gene ontology to describe everything it's doing. There's gene location, there's biological process, and there's molecular function. And so then when I discover a new gene, I can start searching for people who use those same terms. Go ahead, hit play. Let's blow this thing up. Oops, maybe not. Come on, hit play. Hit play. Hit play. Okay, wait, there's the full screen. Hit the full screen. Okay, so check it out. We've got these three things, right? We've got molecular function, biological process. This is the growth of our collective humanity knowledge about genomics, the Human Genome Project. Look at this thing, it's exploding, right? We've got biological process, cellular, right? Cellular component, molecular function. Oh my God, it's amazing. And this is our knowledge. Look at the clock, it's just ticking. This is us. This is from databases all over the world where we collaborate. And we're just going to, we can zoom in and we can see all these different databases where all this knowledge has come from, and it's just advancing really quickly. And then we can see some like explosions of knowledge around like immunology. Boom, there's an immunology happening right there, right? It's happening all over the place. All right, I better go on. Go ahead. Let's keep. Oh. Okay. Here's the thing. Wait. Go back one. That last one's really important. Okay. The term I heard more than anything besides blockchain. I swear. It's just my last slide. I swear to God. Thanks, guys. I heard Common talk about it. I heard this mentioned on the sites like 5 times. The thing I heard more than blockchain, almost as much as blockchain, was the word grandma. And I was so stoked because we got a project about grandmas and grandpas. So we got a project where we are digitizing the knowledge and open sourcing the knowledge for grandparents all over the world about food. What is your traditional cooking method? How do you do it? Let's make this open. You know what? Merck doesn't get to own all of this. I'm sorry, right? This is collective humanity knowledge, and we need to do it before all these people die, right? We need to do it. This is urgent. This is absolutely as urgent as the rainforest, as urgent as the oceans, as urgent as anything else. They're the original hackers. We got to stop talking like hackers are just between 35 and 13-year-olds. They've been hacking on food since you were in short pants. All right, I'm done. Thank you so much, you guys. You've been great.